So how did you feel? And why do you think you felt that way? Or what were the complications this weekend making this design journal? Talk to me about it. Yeah.
Knowing myself.
Knowing yourself? What do you mean?
Like knowing what I might want on it and what I might not want. So what I chose was the indecisive likelihood. So it'll look like it's everywhere, but really it's in one place, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like trying to just figure out the organization, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay, fair. All right. Because it's not like a traditional assignment or a paper, right? Okay. What else was a problem? What else did you struggle with? And I got a lot of emails, so I can share what everybody struggled with, but I want to talk about it in class. What were you thinking, or what made you really nervous before you hit the submit button? What do you think?
Not me. I just probably think of like college, materials, the college writing, and the college rough cut it.
Yeah.
Because what I'm thinking about creative writing. I'm thinking about, okay, project and stuff like that, rough draft and brainstorming. But in my head, I'm like, is this like that college level that she's looking for?
Okay, so she's starting to talk about the differences between types of writing. So creative writing, yeah, she would have been okay, but this is supposed to be academic college writing, introduction to college writing. So am I doing this to the level it needs to be? But what did I say last week about what's so interesting about the way we talk and the way that we use language? Yeah.
Everyone has their own unique style, so there's no perfect way to talk or perfect way to write.
Right, exactly. So you've been kind of preconditioned to believe that. You've been trained that way in your elementary school, middle schools, high schools. You've been trained to think that there is a certain level of writing that's considered academic or sophisticated, or that you have to write on the SAT or the ACT or your college apps, right? But if you've been kind of watching the trends on what's happening with some of those types of writing, is they're shifting and they're changing. And what the application essays used to look like are very different from what they look like now. They're encouraging students to really be creative with them and show their unique side and show their way of languaging, and that's more accepted, and it should be. So to go back to what you were saying, it is going to feel really weird because I'm giving you full autonomy to do what you need to do, and we'll see where each of that takes us. Instead of giving you this formula, this essay, and saying you're going to have an intro paragraph, these body paragraphs, and this conclusion, and if this is your topic, this is how to nail it down. It's a mathematical formula. And I think that we can all rise to that occasion that we could do that, maybe some of us a little more stronger than others, but I don't really know that that's teaching us what we need to be taught. I think what we need to be doing is thinking about what's a natural way for us to try and communicate based on who our audience is and what our purpose is, going back to that triangle, okay? So when I talk about what's foundational to this class, and I'm saying, well, I'm not, but a lot of instructors would tell you it's college writing. It's learning how to write those essays across the board for when you're in these other classes, how to do that. But I think that we need to take one more step back, and it's like, nope, it should really come down to the triangle. And what do we say are the points on the triangle? And it doesn't matter which one's which. I'm sorry? Yep, we could do it from the appeals, ethos, pathos, logos. And I said, these triangles are kind of one and the same. What's another way of looking at these? What's the other set of situations? Yeah.
Is ethos credibility?
It is credibility, so it's your speaker. Are they reliable, right? Should you trust them? And then what about this? I'm sorry?
Topic?
Okay, this is your topic or your context, like the what, right? You gotta be talking about something, but somebody's talking about something.
How does it make you feel?
Consumer?
Yes, the consumer, your audience, and it's kind of that like response, like you're saying, how do they feel about it? For sure. Response of these. So again, if you bring it all the way back to this, the rhetoric of how we communicate and what we're doing, it kind of opens that up, and that's what makes us feel really uneasy. So we'll press through. We'll get there. So that would have been, if you read the assignment description for your first project and in getting your design journal number 1 together, those would have been good places to start. You know, what do you want to talk about, which is kind of what I kept pressing since last Thursday. What are you compelled to talk about? Meaning, if you're sitting around with friends, and I said this, if you're sitting around with friends, what are you talking about? If you're getting on social media, what threads or posts are you looking at, or what are you going through? What are you like compelled to respond to, or what gets you like going, or like pissed off, or upset? Or what do you like? And you're like, yeah, I totally agree with that. What about, like I said, some of you in the announcement yesterday when I'm like, hey, don't panic, go listen to some music. Is there a particular music artist that you like? Is there a song you like? Why do you think you like that song? What do you connect with? Is there a show you like? Is there something the show takes up as a theme? Any of these things are fair game. So, again, starting with what you want to talk about is okay, but you can also figure out who you want to talk to. I think for our purposes, it should just be this class, like this demographic of students. You know, first year students, we're all similar in whatever ways. We're different, but we're similar in ways, okay? So let's make the class our audience, but we're similar, but we're different in that our political views may differ. Our social views and our positions on social issues may differ. Our family situations, our backgrounds. So even though you're talking to this group, it's gonna vary. People might not always agree, right? So you gotta figure out how you wanna present material to people that might not be exactly like you, okay?